This is how we get it.
It's a jam.
Go off those show muscles.
Hello and welcome to another Woodshop podcast with Mike Coffey of Coffee Custom Builds, Daniel Dunlap of Daniel Dunlap Woodworks, and Peter Kapar of Petrie's Workshop. You can find us all, as well as the podcast, on Instagram and YouTube.
Welcome to episode 111 of another Woodshop podcast, where this week we have the man that taught Paul Jackman how to be an Instagram model, the woodworking Popeye, the man that wants to say hi to your mom. Erik Curtis is here.
Say hi to your mom on the streets.
Say hi to your mom for me.
Bravo!
I like
Don't know
it.
what it means.
That was good, Pete.
Man, that's the
Came in
best
hot.
intro I've ever had.
All right.
It's
I don't
so
know if you
good.
know this about Pete, Erik. He comes up with these on the fly.
He's a straight
I
hype
just wrote
man.
it when I was like 1 second.
He's
I was
straight
writing
up
it.
hype, man.
Oh man,
He-
I'm ready to like
he is
hit the
the
town.
hypest
Let's
of
go.
hype, man.
When can you wingman? for
You
me,
guys
Pete?
heard it right, though.
Whatever.
Eric is here, and we are
He's
very
here.
excited about it. So it's gonna be a good time. We got a whole episode planned of shenanigans. It's gonna be at best subpar, but we're gonna try our hardest because we're a bunch of tryhards. So let's
Hey,
get this thing going.
exceptionally
Um,
mediocre.
Exceptionally the
You know,
best
my
of the
last name
mediocres.
in Ukrainian is pronounced Sapad, which literally just sounds subpar. So, you know,
Can't
it's on
confirm.
brand. It's on brand.
Piot subpar.
Subpar. Yeah, subpar.
Well, this week I'd like to thank our patrons for sponsoring this episode. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Pete said we had a new one, but I didn't see one.
Well, we'll see it
Pete's-
next
I'm just
week.
throwing Peter under the bus right now.
Oh,
I don't
in
know if
next
it's not showing
week.
up for me or what.
Okay.
Yeah, tune in next week for possible, definite maybe of new
A
patrons. But no,
definite
big thanks to our
100%
patrons.
possibility.
You guys are the dopest. Also, this week, we're kind of starting a new trend. We have a cool segment where we do reviews, and we're going to start it right here.
Go, Black Betty, ramble lamb.
That's Dan singing "Oh Black Betty, Ramble-Lamb," and that's how we do our review segment. That's how we get into it because we can't come up with good jingles. But we aren't going to do reviews again because we have a
can.
guest. So
We just did.
Oh yeah, that's right. We did. I forgot.
We have a lot of guests over the
Oh.
next several weeks, so
Yeah, we got a lot of guests lined up. I'm actually really excited about it. It's really a ton of fun. So, the next thing we typically jump into is what's on my bench, but Erik's here and we want to ask him some questions from us to him. We figure, hey, now's the time. Do we want to go in like full interview mode, or what do we want to go into
I
here?
feel
What do
like
we wanna
I feel
do?
like we should still dive into what's on my bench. I'm curious to hear what the
Why don't
situation.
we keep we can do a brief what's on the bench and then have him go from
we
that
get into,
right
then we dive
questions.
into Erik head first.
Dive
no
into Erik.
lookies. Yeah, no look skis right into the Erik
Skis.
skis. This isn't working.
Nice.
I need to just play this.
what's on my bench?
So that's how we get into what's on my bench. That's Dan singing as well. That's all he's here for. We don't
I mean,
actually use Dan for much
the
else. other than
vocal
the
range
jingle
of this
machine.
human being. He
Oh,
is
yeah.
he is a
Oh.
chameleon.
Fergie and Jesus. It's Fergie and
Yeah,
Jesus.
I've been known as
Fergie and cheese.
an angel with a voice. That's me.
I mean,
It's the best thing you can come up
there
with.
is something angelic about it. It's spiritual. I feel I'm ready for what's on
Yeah.
my bench emotionally. Just I'm
Yeah.
Well, I'm
grounded.
glad you're ready because I think you're first.
Yeah, Dan sounds
Yeah,
like
Erik-
getting pulled over by Steven Seagal feels. Mainly it's shock.
Yeah,
a little bit
shock.
of
Also,
disappointment,
a lot
but
of
also
roundhouse
kind of
kicks.
excited.
for sure. He roundhouse kicked that window straight open.
Yeah, it was. You don't have to roll it down. He just shatters it, and there's just glass all over your face, and you're trying to
So,
answer
you know
questions.
how like officers always like touch the back trunk as they approach the car. He just roundhouse kicks the trunk as he approaches the
It
car.
opens.
You know his heel print is right in
Just-
there.
full of, and he tries to plant chiladas on you. It's really jacked up. But
Oh.
no, yeah, Erik, what you got going on this week?
Currently I'm working on a commission. It's a little box, but it's an interesting little commission. So this particular client has a cup, like a chalice, a vessel. I don't know what you want to call it, but they're very Catholic, and so he has this vessel that was made in 1740. that's been in his family the entire time. Right? It's this pure silver vessel, and whenever they have a family wedding, they take communion out of this cup. And so I have the
That
cup.
sounds really COVID friendly.
It's definitely pushing the boundaries of what is, scientifically, medically advisable. However, it's a beautiful cup. And so I'm making a container for this cup.
Would you call it a grail?
Place where this can live. I would absolutely call it a grail, but I don't know if this guy would be offended by all of the Monty Python jokes. So
I was going Indiana Jones, but yeah, Monty Python's way better.
I think this is why Erik and I are friends. This is why we send feet pics to one another.
That's exactly it. And so that's what I'm working on this week. It's just a tiny little walnut box, a container for this, so we can ship it around to his nieces and nephews as they're getting married. It's a cool little box, though. The goal is to kind of imbue the object with some meaning that has a relation to this cup, and trying to do something that resembles growth and the capacity to move forward in some beautiful way. Because this is getting used at weddings and it means something to his family and has meant something to his family for damn near 300 years. So
that's wild.
That's what I'm working on this week.
That's awesome, man. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
This isn't the interview segment, but something like that. Is this a word of mouth thing? Do you know them? I mean, how did you get a project like that?
So this particular guy is friends with another client of mine. And he saw a piece that I made for them, humidor, and he really liked the humidor. And
that was sick.
So he gave me a call and basically was like, something that's really important to me is to establish my creative process with new clients and make sure they understand how I work. And so once he was comfortable with me kind of stating how I work and how I let the piece kind of evolve as it comes alive, then he seemed really excited about it, and I'm pretty stoked to get it to see how he actually reacts, because I like to not let them know anything about it outside of like what their creative
will be a box
were beforehand. It will be a box. He wanted dovetails. That's all he knows.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I got a couple door commissions, and I know Mike has as well. What is a humidor?
Oh God.
It's an environmentally friendly door.
Made out of humans or?
Yeah.
Human door?
It's a real human centipede of a door situation.
Oh man.
Cool.
ATM door situation. That's cool. That's awesome. That sounds like a great project. Both that box is, those always, like, when it's something that means that much to the client. I mean, when you're making like a table for someone, it's a big deal, or a door or something but when it's going to be the home of a grail, a family heirloom that's 300 years old, there's a lot of stress that comes with that, and getting it right, whatever that means, whatever it is, you got to get it right. It's tough.
That's a funny thing. And I just had this conversation with somebody recently, and I wish I could recall who it was, but somebody was essentially asking me, like, do you feel the pressure of making these objects for people, that mean so much to them, that they're invested so much in emotionally? And the funny thing is like, I don't feel any pressure on that, because one of the things that's, again, really important to me up front is establishing
the artist approach,
that boundary, right, with the client.
Yeah.
And so here's what he knows he wants is, he wants dovetails. He wants it to be made out of walnut. He wants it to, I still haven't figured out how to phrase this, humble in some way, right? Not audacious, right?
Not gaudy.
So
not
that,
tacky.
and that's exactly the word that
Clean.
he used. He didn't want it to be gaudy.
Yeah.
And then obviously has to house the cup. So outside of that, I was just like, I need full creative control of what the thing is. And there was only one time where I presented a piece to a client where they still liked the piece, but they were almost confused by the fact that they didn't get any sketches. They didn't know what the piece was going to look like. We established what it was going to be and when I was going to deliver it. And then I called them up and I was like, it's done. And she was like, I didn't even get like a primary sketch or anything. And I was like, no, it's just done.
That's not how that works with me.
You do get an invoice though. Happy birthday!
Right, that.
I'm assuming they liked
I think
they did like it, and it worked. It worked really, really well in the space. It was a super fun piece, and she's contacted me since and talked about how much people really like when they come over, and that's really what she wanted was a statement piece. But it was just funny. Like her reaction to that phone call was entertaining.
I like you a lot, Eric, and I want you on the show, but I wanted to bring it on because I think there's like between the craftsmen. So there's like this thing. There's the craftsman and the artist. They both do something very well. I think the craftsman tends to lean towards more of making stuff for others, and the artist tends to make stuff for them. And the artist, you're a craftsman, but who skews to the artist side. I mean, the muse is very important to you, and the artist approach I think is very important to you. And that's something I'm really excited to have you on the show because what you're talking about right now about creating the expectation, like you are the creative in this situation. With like a craftsman, I'm not an artist. I'm more towards the craftsman side of things. I generally try to build what I can for the client, and I don't usually have a artistic. I have design, and I give them, suitable integrity or integral parts of the build that I think will help the thing stay together and not fall apart over time. like drop wisdom on them. For you, there's a lot of. I think the muse is really important, which I think is really cool. And the bottom line is like, you have to, as an artist type, which I think you are, I don't think that's an insult. You still have to find a way to get paid because everyone needs to make money. And I think your approach is really good. I think your approach of, hey, I'm going to make this thing for you, but why don't you give me the smallest amount of input and I'll get it done for you. And it's going to be dope. I promise you that. I really like that approach. I think it's really great.
And it's done. Here's your invoice.
It's that's been an approach that took me a really long time to develop an understanding and appreciation for, how that process works and the confidence to execute that process. Right. Because I have to know that I can do the thing and I have to have confidence, or at least confidence in the fact that with every piece that I approach, I will attempt to make the best possible object. And that's the hard thing about selling things to somebody. And I want to be clear about this. There's a lot of people who contact me thinking they want a piece by me, and then they realize it's going to take X amount of time or it's going to cost X amount of dollars. And they're like, oh, that's not going to work because I just want to give you what, IKEA money, and then you make the table.
Right.
And I'm like,
I think that's the struggle for a lot of people.
Yeah,
right.
That's the struggle for a lot of people.
The
problem is there's guys that will say yes.
Well, sure. There's a lot of guys, and that's perfectly understandable. And I don't want to knock the people who produce produce things in bulk. If that's what makes you happy, do the thing, right? Like if you enjoy just the process of making cutting boards, chairs, whatever it is, boxes, do the thing. Bow ties, whatever makes you smile. For me personally, it's the process of engaging with the thought, and the creative process has helped me to understand my place in the world and understand what I'm capable of contributing to the human experience, and trying to make the world slightly better in a very small and in a way that is almost immeasurable, but it's ineffable and it does matter in some way. So whatever that way is, as long as I can keep doing that and keep finding people who understand and appreciate that, then I consider myself an incredibly lucky human.
Yeah, you're doing the thing you love, and you have to find out what it is you love about the thing you're doing, and not let people step all over you. I mean, there's things that you got to find out the thing that you really enjoy, and you just have to chase that thing and try to find a way to. I mean, we all got to make money. That's about, like, everyone has to be honest. Sure. Everyone's got to make money, so you got to find a way to do the thing you love, and unfortunately, you got to monetize things in life. So, and
I think that there's, and this is a good point to touch on, because there's this like stigma that if you aren't a full-time woodworker, that you're not like a woodworker, right? Or if you're not a full-time,
Yeah, that's trash.
whatever it is, X, then you're not that thing, right? It's really hard to make a living as a creative person. It's really hard. So whatever you have to do, find a job to pay the bills in order to allow you the creative freedom to explore the things that matter to you. Do that thing. There's it's no value lost to the things that you want to do. And I think for some reason, if being a medical personnel or a police officer or a teacher, whatever the hell the thing is, just do the thing. If that gives you the time to be a woodworker, you're a woodworker. That's good enough.
Yep.
Just do the thing.
Yeah.
Dude, I
Don't
relate to that so
justify it
much.
by right. Like
You're really hitting it on a nose, because so many people ask, I mean, how many times a week do you get asked, hey, when are you going full time? Like,
right. Right.
People I get asked all the time, like, when are you going full time? Like, well, do you want to just be doing, I mean, some people just don't want to do that. They want to make stuff, but they also want to have regular jobs,
And there's a freedom. There's a, when you have financial stability for having a job and you have the freedom to explore the ideas or the projects that you want to explore, that's a beautiful place to exist within. And there's no reason to move beyond that too soon in order to do a thing that you think that you should do just because other people say that you need to be a full-time woodworker. Because if you go from making objects that you really care about and you're growing and you're exploring and you're doing fantastic work to making, 1,000 cutting boards a week to pay the bills, then you're not going to have time to do the other thing.
Do you mind sharing what's your full-time gig? Like, what's your life look like with everything?
So currently, I am
hand model.
It is a full-time situation. Hand model mostly is how I make my income. You can check out my Only Hands
Only
account.
Hands.
I'll link down below. Yeah.
There's another show title candidate.
So my business model is basically 50% commission work, 50% content. And what's really beautiful about the content model for me, and I know this is not true of everybody, but somehow I've kind of forged these relationships where I have that same kind of creative freedom with the companies that I work with. Mm-hmm. And I only work with companies that I've known for a long time, that I've used their products for a long time, and that I can trust. And so what they do is they give me full creative freedom to create whatever I want. And as of recently, that has tended to be piggybacked with a commission. So somebody will approach me. Let's take the last large commission I just finished up, which was a liquor bar. So a good friend of mine approached me wanting to commission a liquor bar for her husband, who is one of my closest friends. He's turning 40 or just turned 40, and he really wanted me to make them a piece. So we've been talking about this since December. I just delivered this in late April. And so on top of the commission, and again, it was the same concept of here are the things you want. Everything else is just creative freedom of the process of evolving with a piece. And then I was lucky enough to have 3 sponsors who kind of piggybacked on top of that to sponsor different portions of the build. And through that kind of combined package, I make enough money to live on for the time it takes to build the piece.
And are you also teaching and getting paid for that, or is it just your?
So I do teach. I love teaching, and the moment that my schedule kind of allows me to be back in the classroom on a more consistent basis, I will be. But currently, I did have to step away from the classroom, and I'm just kind of, I'm going down a road and seeing what comes of it,
Yeah.
Well, I do have one more question with
adventure.
that, to piggyback off all that. Sorry, I'm hitting you with all the questions now. But
Hit me with it.
what did your, I hate this word, journey look like? What did you have to make pallet wood furniture or 2x4 furniture first to build up to the level of now I can do whatever I want because people will just pay me for my work because they know my work? Or did you just kind of from day one was I want to make the best furniture possible, and you were trying to hit it right in right to the top of the bar?
That's a good question. I don't know. So I grew up in the trades. I've been building things as long as I can remember. Right. My father was a builder. Um, you know, I built my first deck when I was in sixth grade. So like I've just been building things all my life. I knew that I always wanted to work with my hands. And at one point, I remember the moment I decided I wanted to be a furniture maker. It was like falling in love. It was like love at first sight, man. It was a very specific moment in time. But it was from that moment that I think it was a desire to make the best possible furniture that I could, right? Like whatever it was that I chose to do, I always wanted to do it to the best of my ability. And then everything else I just didn't care about. Like I was a terrible student. I was a solid C- student, and that was sufficient for me.
Same.
And then so that was when I was like 20 that I decided I wanted to be a furniture maker. Worked my butt off, tried to find apprenticeships.
Do you want to tell the defining moment about when you wanted to be a furniture maker?
So I was, it was such a silly moment.
It's not. It's good. It's real.
It was good. You
got pulled over by Steven Seagal. Come on.
I got pulled over by Steven Seagal, and he just roundhouse kicked me to the face, and I saw a vision of a demi-moon, and I was like, "This is it." No, I was lying in bed with my then girlfriend, and she was kind enough to humor me in this desire, right? Like I knew I wanted to build things, and so I started researching furniture. I was like ordering Fine Woodworking magazine and American Woodworker. And in American Woodworker one month, I got a sample DVD from Paul Sellers. Oh. And she, again, kind enough to like watch these DVDs with me. You know how it is when you're dating girls when you're like 19 or 20. And so it was, I don't know, maybe a 15-minute DVD. And specifically, I remember him cutting edge bandings out of ebony and holly, and just watching him cut these dental bandings and inlay them by hand with no measurements with a handsaw and a router plane. And I just like watched him do it and turned to her, and I was like, oh, that's what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. And she just gave me this blank look like, what are you going to do? And I was like, I don't know what that is. Right. I don't know what that is, but whatever that is, I'm going to go do that. And I didn't know anybody who was a furniture maker. I didn't know anybody who was an artist. Like my father was a builder. My mother is a medical technologist.
Like
right?
when you say your father was a builder, are we talking like framer or construction?
Like he was a handyman, you know
okay.
what I mean? And so like I learned electrical, I learned plumbing, I learned framing.
Jack of all trades, master of a couple.
But none of that is there any kind of artistic decision making, right? It's very much the craft.
It's the craftsman.
Yeah. And so it really was that moment of I saw what the end goal was. I didn't know how to get there. I didn't know what road to take. I didn't know who to ask for advice, but the stubborn child in me was like, whatever that is, I'm going to go do that now.
Were you artistic in any way at the time? Because that's something I struggle with. Like, I'm very handy, and I've been building into trades my whole life too. But like, I know right angles and whatever. I can't like. I need to really try hard to make things artistic. It's not easy.
Sure.
Same.
It was never easy for me. Honestly, I think my brain is more scientific than artistic. I was in performing arts, like I was a musician. I did like some stage acting, but little. I was never a visual artist. I still can't draw.
You're acting like you enjoy this, so that's nice work.
It's all about lying, right? So
acting,
but
and
but no. To answer your question in short, no. I didn't know what I was doing, and I struggled with it really hard. And to be honest, it wasn't until I discovered how to break design down into kind of the fundamental building blocks, almost like a math equation, that it started to make sense to me. So, you have the elements and principles of design. And the way that I explain this to my students were the elements of design are the raw materials, right? They're like the wood that we use. The principles of design are the tools that you use in order to manipulate the wood to make an object. And once I kind of figured that out and cracked that code and learned the elements and principles, then it was really just a math equation. It was basic addition, right? Like if I take X element and X principle and I just combine the two and this thing comes out, then it's just a volume game. You just make and make and make, and you go, okay, that sucks, that's terrible, that's kind of good, that could be better next time. And then over an evolution of years, you just go, okay, now I kind of know what's going to happen, right? So it's it was a long process for me, and that really didn't start until my late 20s, like 28, 29.
And you're how old now?
34.
32.
34 next week. Cool.
Close enough.
Awesome.
Sorry, I started asking questions.
That was a
really
deep dive.
into
No,
that.
I like it. It was
Are we
perfect.
still
It was
what's on our bench?
We are. That was a great segment, Eric. Thank you. That's where I wanted that to go with these questions. That's exactly where I wanted it to
We
go.
have more
'cause,
questions for you too.
Oh yeah. We're not done with questions. for
Dan's
sure.
got all his.
Let's throw it over to Big Daniel Dunlap for his what's on his bench this week.
Well, gosh, how do you follow that? So
With
I've been
your
making
answers.
bow ties on Etsy. That's fun. And zero clearance inserts since I was in my 20s.
Hey, I've made a lot of fucking bow ties, and they're great.
So yeah, I don't know how to follow Eric, but my week is obviously consumed by Etsy orders. Obviously, I can't say enough good things about Etsy. It's doing really well. I did start making, or I didn't start. I think I finished. I think I started last week. I don't recall. This week has been such a blur. I feel like we were just recording. So I don't remember exactly what I said last week, but I had to make these 2 shower platform things for my beach house client. There are beaches in Nebraska. Come fight me, bro.
My beach house client.
Yeah. So they got these 2 little platforms that come off their patio, and they got 2 separate like little stations where you can shower off the sand off your feet before you go up on their very nice patio. And they wanted to update the little wooden platforms that are there. They're just made out of construction lumber or cedar or something, but they're really old. They're really weathered. So I remade them out of that Cambion ash. But I ran into a few problems last week. If you've been following me on Instagram, you watch my stories, you understand. I used some older spar urethane to finish them after I got them all built and everything, and it wasn't curing. Like, I don't know what it was. I got a few comments on TikTok telling me I'm a hack and I'm an idiot. So that could be the problem, I guess.
That's helpful.
Yeah. I really think it was, I laid down the finish in the direct sunlight, which is absolutely not advisable anytime you do a finish. I should have known better, but I built these in a hurry because my client is like, I need these before Memorial Day. And I'm like, okay, I need to just work on them and get them out of my shop before I work on anything else. So it was kind of a rush job. And so I feel like I blustered that decision.
Blundered?
There it is.
Blustered.
Bluster words in the
Blunder
17th century.
Words. They're an
Blunderbust.
Arab mystery. Okay. So
There it is. Made it in.
I blundered the finishing process and I had to sand it all off.
Bungled?
And refinish it. Bungled? Are you?
Bugled.
Why are you throwing
You
new
know-
words at me?
You don't want to make it too exotic there, Mike. Come on.
Okay. All right.
So
Danny make boo-boo.
I boo-booed the finish. I like that. We'll go with boo-booed. I boo-booed the finish. I had to take it all off. I had to refinish it. I also had to put a hole in the top of the platform so it would go over the faucet, and my initial measurements and notes for the measurements, I misread them, so I had to redo that. It was just a real cluster F, and I am a hack. And to the guy that was on TikTok calling me a hack, that hurt. but it feels a
I
little
know.
true. And I'll make bow ties. I can make bow ties better than anybody on the planet. So there's that.
PVC bow ties.
I don't know what you're talking about. I make real good bow ties.
The
That's all I know.
PVC.
Oh, PVC. Oh, PVC.
The
Yeah.
circle
PVC.
inlay.
By the way, did you
Uh,
tag all 14 people like we were doing for all the giveaway stuff?
Oh no.
Should've.
Jeez. No. I don't know if you missed that, Eric. I did the PVC inlay in a reel.
Oh, I saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, for real? Yeah,
It looks good. It looks
Oh,
good.
for real.
It's an idea. It's an idea.
It's an
It
idea.
sure was.
I'm gonna incorporate
It's-
that into a future project. You wait, it's gonna blow your
It-
socks off.
It technically worked.
Yeah.
Anyway, my week's been fairly boring. Same old, same old. I want to hear what Mike has got going on. I feel like
I
Mike's
gotta-
gonna have a lot to talk about.
I got a shipping container delivered on someday this week. We have like wood all over the place, and
That reminds me, I
it's-
shipped my pants.
okay.
He said
You
ship.
shipped your bed.
Low hanging fruit, buddy.
I shipped
Yeah,
my
Real
it was,
pants.
done lap of
Is it
judgment.
Amazon Basics return?
Done laps of done. Why
It's
have we
another
never
show
said
title
that?
for you.
What the heck? A done lapse of judgment. Okay,
That's good.
Okay.
I like that.
that's really
You're
good.
welcome.
How
That
is
one's
that-
royalty free.
All right, thank you. No, I got a shipping.
You're never gonna
container for
top
all
Arab
these-
mystery, so you need to stop.
Man, Dunlaps of Judgment might be the title. That might be the front runner over beard scissoring. I mean, that's tough.
Forgot about that one.
Yeah, if you,
I don't
if you
know.
guys
Beard
don't-
scissoring just brings me a certain level of joy that I don't know that
Look,
I can get
it does.
past.
I'm gonna talk
I-
directly to the listener right now. If you don't tune into the pre-show, you're missing out on a lot of these jokes.
We're real full. Anyway, we got a. I had bought a shipping container because I got wood in all. My
In all
shop's
the
a good
crannies.
size, but it's not big enough for my operation. It's just not like it's really glaringly obvious that I need more space, and this is kind of a band-aid to fix that. So I had a shipping container dropped off, and man, those things aren't cheap during this time right now. It's crazy how expensive those are. Those were
Did it
like
come stocked with formula by chance?
18. Yeah, it was baby formula.
Topical.
That's relevant. Nice. No, that's
I'm sorry.
no.
that
We
was-
it
That was
came
super
listening in
long.
6
dry.
months, you won't know what
It
we're talking
smells
about.
like it smells like fertilizer. But hey,
Oh,
I'm
fun.
gonna turn it into lumber storage. So we had Sean.
Hey,
today
that's a
put-
good way. That's like a two birds one stone situation. You can get rid of bugs in your wood with the fertilizer in your container.
man.
Wow.
Freaking, I don't know how
Let
that
him
works
get
out,
to
but
it.
yeah, I'll get to that here in a minute. So I had Sean put in. I bought like a really powerful attic fan. I had him put that in there because it's gonna get warm in that thing. But we had it running today. It was not super hot today, but it kept it ambient temperature, like the temperature that was outside. So I think we're gonna be all right. It won't get too hot in there. I'm just worried about the heat case hardening the wood, which would be a real problem. Basically, turns that container into a kiln. So
That's what
we,
I was gonna say. You should turn that thing into
we-
a kiln someday in the future.
I will talk about that here in just a minute too.
All right, I'm just
so
ruining
about
all the
kiln.
things.
So
All right.
no, you're not ruining anything. No, I've got a conversation on Monday. Anyway, so yeah, we got the shipping container in. We actually, I said last week, one of my shop guys, my cousin Matt, he had COVID, so he was out, and there was a lot of stress. We ended up working through the weekend without him. And we've got these carriage doors, which I'm really enjoying this project a lot. These carriage doors are really awesome, really, really a challenge. I love new stuff and I love a challenge. And man, these doors you have to get very precise on doors when they're 4 foot by 8 foot each, and they're dual swinging into each other, and they land in, and there's 4 of them. The precision is, I was talking to the installer, the contractor, and he's like, yeah, you're gonna need these tolerances. I'm like, we are gonna have to do some really good stuff here. So it's really cool. We're
Yikes!
I'm really excited
You're
about
scaring
this.
the crap out of me.
We have like less than a 16th of play along both runs. So
Wow.
it's gonna be interesting.
Ouch.
But it's a challenge, and man, I love it. It's going to be really cool. And we've got glass in this project, which I haven't done any glass. Well, I've done a few projects with glass, not like this, integrated into the project where we've got glass panels in there. What's up?
Do you know what I learned recently? Because I have a door coming up that's going to put, it's going to have glass in it as well. Glass moves just like wood.
Yeah, it's a liquid. It's actually technically a liquid.
Yeah.
It's not actually solid. It's actually technically a liquid, and over time, the bottom will get bigger than the top as the material moves down.
Interesting.
And
That's
you need
crazy.
to have.
I had no
You
idea.
have to have it needs to be a floating panel, and that's what we're doing. We're giving a pretty well oversized rabbit around it, and then the front trim on the front is going to be
big of a rabbit? Like Easter bunny size, or what are we talking about?
I was just waiting for which direction you're going to take that. So
Hollow chocolate.
I was like, okay, yeah. It was Easter, man. Easter, the incident. No, no, it's this job is actually very, very fun, and we did some barn doors, which are just so easy. It was fun, but they're very easy. Not like these carriage doors. These things are cool, but we're doing.
I would be curious to hear some info on that actually, though, because I got a entry door I got to do coming up in the fall, and what I'm thinking of doing right now is having insulated glass in there, obviously, because it's an entry door, but then I want to face it with colored glass, stained glass on one side or the other.
Oh, that's a good idea.
I don't know how it'll work, but I'm very curious to hear how this project goes for you.
So I'll send you a video. I mean, how I designed it was there. So it's a shaker style carriage door, and it's got 3 panels in the front, floating panels in the front. And then there was 6 panels of glass originally. That's what the customer wanted. 6 panels of glass, 3 panels of wood for the shaker style. Originally I had 6 individual pieces of glass, and we were getting into the design more, and we're like, we'll just have 1 panel of glass. We'll trim it out so it looks like 6 panels, and this glass will be easier to deal with and more stable. So we have the one in there, and it's pushed up against the trim that will be looking to the outside. And then on the back, we are going to trim it out. That will be removable should the glass ever break. Because originally my design was there's just glass panels in there. If the glass panels broke, they got to get a whole new door, which is a terrible design. That's a huge design flaw. So we're like, yeah, we're gonna make it so they can pop trim off, or they can have me pop trim off if they ever break a window, and we can replace this piece of glass. Duh. I don't know why I was thinking that way. So we got that design redone, and I'm actually really excited about where this door is heading. So I think it's gonna be these 4 doors.
I got a question for you.
And yeah.
So 2 actually. So are these internal doors or exterior doors?
No, they're exterior doors.
Exterior doors. Okay. So that's okay. That's a challenge.
They're gonna have a lot of movement. Yeah.
How are you insulating them? Because anytime I've framed out glass, I've put like those rubber beads or like cut rubber tubing to like move, when the wood moves and stuff. So it'll still be fine. But like, how are you sealing them in? Like around the edges? Are you running something?
Can I say the word? Can I say the word?
They're gonna get cocked. It's gonna get a cocked
Just
job.
cock? Okay.
I want to say that.
No, it's good.
Well, I don't know if you're running any kind of like rubber tubing on the inside to have it.
No, so the glass actually comes with the glass comes with a perimeter
gasket
trim that actually it's a gasket. Yeah, it comes with a gasket for this. The manufacturer sends it with one, so we're gonna be able to fit that in there and get that in. But it will be hit with clear cock as well. So I'm 5. So
So that answers my question. I was going to ask what color the cock was. It's clear.
Let's leave this hanging for a couple minutes.
Minutes? You want to hang it for a few minutes?
Oh,
for 5 seconds.
It's clear now what color the cock is. Yeah. So those doors are great. And then we're doing. I've got a conference table for a gal, but we're doing this desk, and it's. I love salvaged wood. Like, I just love live edge stuff. It's my thing. I love it. We're doing a live edge desk. It's an L shape with dual miter waterfalls on the ends, and then another slab holding the thing up. And for me, this is like a project I just love. I just love it. It's not technically a difficult project at all, but for me, it's just something I love doing. Like, I'm very excited about this project. I couldn't not work on it today. I was like, Sean, sorry, you're in the shipping container. I'm working on this table because I want to do this so bad. So I was working on that today, and Yeah, he's in the bear den.
Please call it that.
Every
Make a
Tuesdays.
sign.
Yeah.
I want you to make
The
a
bear den?
template so
I
you can
am gonna
spray
make
that
it the bear
on.
den. I
Yeah.
am. I'm gonna cut that out on my laser tomorrow. The bear den. I'm 100% calling it the bear den. That's
So like,
fantastic.
what's that? Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. It's the bear den. No. Yeah. This table is really rustling my jimmies. I'm really excited about it. So anyway, we got a lot of stuff going on right now. But speaking about failures, I'd been working on this restaurant, build out all the tables for this restaurant, and the conversation started in a direction that I was very excited about. I had full creative control. The only direction I was given was, we want metal bases but not industrial. So I came to them with a design I know it was very weird. It was tough. We came with a design. I worked with my metal guy, which is Bidwell wood and iron. I worked with them, and we came up with a great design. Customers like, we love this. This is great. It was going to be a really good job. It was going to occupy most of our July and August. Is going to be really cool. And then, she comes back with, hey, I found someone who'll do it for like 40% less, and that is like in the pants. And it's like, it's like, exactly. I was like, I responded with, hey, thanks for considering me and best of luck on your restaurant. And she sends me a long message back. I just wanted you to know this is a really hard decision. I'm like, listen,
I'm sure it was.
It's okay.
Enjoy your 40%.
I'm sure, you have a great,
Listen, it's
I'm
okay.
sure,
You're dead to me.
I'm sure he'll do great.
Yeah.
So
Call me when they fall apart.
Let me know when the top's split in half and they paint the metal instead of powder
You know
coat
what's
it.
solid? The tables
Anyway,
we saw in Austin at that one restaurant. Caulk. I never thought to join the wood with caulk.
Oh, that was nice stuff. Yeah. It's
Caulk.
It's caulk.
Caulk?
No. Yeah. So this week's good. It's a good week. We're doing tomorrow. The guys, we're gonna kind of call it a little early, and we're just gonna have pizza and hang out and have some beers and stuff to wrap up the week. So it's been a heck of a week. But
I'll be right over.
I'd love it. I'd love nothing more. You're all invited. No, it's just a busy week. There's a bunch of other stuff, but no one cares. Pete, what's up?
Sorry, I was just writing. He's working on a large table that is rustling his jimmies. I was just making sure I get that in there. I do the show notes, by the way, Eric. I'm not just ignoring you. I'm not in like an AOL chat or something. So what did I do this week?
What year is it?
It's still a thing, ASL.
ASL, yeah.
So I've been working on building some 3D printers still. I got 3 new machines about 2 weeks ago. Last week, I finally started assembling them. The mini is already live in my office. You can see the spool in the video. If you watch the video on the YouTube channel, you can see Eric's beautiful face. He wears glasses, by the way. Spoiler. So I got the mini all built. I got one of the big printers built. The Mark III is on the floor behind me. It's almost done. I got another one that I'll be building this morning.
Are these the printers that you did the unboxing live on YouTube?
Yes. So the mini's assembled. The other one is not finished yet. That was the next thing. Thanks, Dan, for the low lob.
I ruined everything.
No, I appreciate it. No, thanks for the low lob. I'm gonna hit it out of the park.
Put the ball on the tee for you.
Yeah, he just placed it on my bat and it fell off.
Throw it back to me afterwards, Pete. I forgot something. Sorry.
I did something. Yeah, sure. I did something that I haven't really done before, and I've always wanted to try. And I ended up throwing it together in like 20 minutes. I told everyone I'm doing it. I'm doing a live stream on Instagram and YouTube at the same time. And then 15 minutes before, I'm like, oh, I should probably like set up. But I threw it together. I did a tandem live stream. It was actually a lot of fun. I got some good feedback and some constructive feedback on like camera placement and stuff. But I got an iPad mount for doing the Instagram live. And oh my God, you're able to like put your phone really far away, get a nice shot of what you're doing. And you could see the text on iPad. And I also had Emma moderating so I could like focus on 2 things at the same time. So basically this is mainly like I'm unboxing, but really it's just, let's hang out. Let's answer some 3D printing questions. People ask me every single day questions about the whole process, what machines to get, all that stuff. So I figured let's just chat. So not only that, but I needed more content for my YouTube. So now I have another video. I have a live on there now. So it's a nice way to get into that. And I do these lives for the podcast all the time. I figured why not just try one for just us? Why just Instagram lives? You know, Instagram, it's not evergreen content. YouTube, it is. It'll always be up there. Instagram, just no one really searches it. and whatnot. So
Can you search lives on Instagram? I don't think you
actually a
can.
good question.
You can post them to your feed, but
You
I don't
can,
think
But they're
anybody
not
I'm
can
wondering if-
searchable.
because they become what is it, an IGTV thing. I wonder if you can search that.
Yeah.
Man. Doesn't matter. It's not evergreen content, whereas YouTube is. So I figured, let's throw it up there. And actually had a good turnout on both, which is surprising. I was expecting to just have like people
Awesome.
on Instagram and like no one on YouTube and just have a video, but we had a bunch of people in there because they wanted the widescreen shot. So that was fun. Emma moderating was really helpful. Like doing it by yourself is hard. Now I finally get why all these like bigger accounts, the wives are involved. It's for a reason. Like you need a second person to like go through the questions while you're like showing, you're like, look at this cool tool I got. I'm like, oh, this person's asking a question. Like, thanks. Because I'm holding a tool. You got to get somebody else involved. So that was really fun. I almost wanted to just go balls to the wall and get my like old phone and just put TikTok live on just to have it. Because I see some people doing TikTok lives.
Triple
I haven't really
down.
tried one. Yeah, I figured maybe next time we'll just do like all of them.
Can't go triple D, man. Come on.
Triple D.
That's-
Oh,
Not
challenge
with that
accepted.
attitude, you can't.
Challenge accepted. I'll have to.
I don't know if you're man enough, Pete. I'm not gonna lie about it.
That's fine. It's fine. Emma is, and she's there with me. So boom, take that.
My wife is man enough.
My wife
and
is man
everything in
enough.
my body hurts.
So it was actually kind of fun to do that live, and it made, this might sound weird, but like made YouTube less scary by doing like an Instagram YouTube live. Like I got a hour-long video that just went up on YouTube. Somebody puts it on in the background of the shop. I'm getting my watch hours or whatever, and that's kind of what I need right now because I'm trying to get monetized. I'm not cool like Erik, who has a YouTube channel, by the way, in case people don't know. Apparently people don't know.
People seem to be confused about this. I
Yeah.
do
Yeah, there
have a
seems to be
YouTube
some
Doesn't
sort of-
channel.
fact of a YouTube channel. He's kind of a medium deal. Go check it out.
3 questions
Medium
were,
at
Erik,
best.
have you thought about starting a YouTube channel?
No,
Guys, it's there. Just Google it.
Just
If you Google like Ian Curtis,
Just
that's
ding
like
it,
the
guys.
first thing that comes
it's
up.
there.
All right. Big question for me. I'm sorry.
No, go
I'm
for it.
totally going to cut you off. Curtis. Oh, I see.
Curtis?
I called you Curtis again.
He does
Son
this
of a
a lot.
B. Erik, what does the
Sir.
N stand for? Nicholas?
Nancy.
Nancy. Ah, that makes more sense.
It's
Eric Nancy
every
Curtis.
time. This is something that never fails to make me chuckle.
Is it
every time you're
Nathaniel?
on the phone with somebody, you're just like,
Is it Nathaniel?
Erik, what's your middle initial N? And then they're like, N is in Nancy. I'm like, yes. Erik Nancy Curtis is my name. How did you guess?
I
you
love it.
got it in what? No, it's Neil.
Neil. That makes more sense. Actually.
Nah, I like Nancy
That's
better.
awesome.
We're going with Nancy.
Nancy, I'm gonna roll with Nancy.
Yeah, we're doing it. We're doing it. We're doing it live.
So, I mean, I'm gonna ask. So it's like Ian Curtis is like your name for what you do. I don't want to say for your shop. Well, because I guess you have a shop. and stuff too, but
I don't really know how it came about. It just like I didn't want it to be Erik Curtis, and then when I was starting my business in whatever it was, 2010, like
people
I
struggle
was
with this all
like-
the time. That's why I ask, because like people
Right,
ask us,
right.
like, how do I name my thing? Like, what's your name?
I
Start
don't
with
know. It was like it was a little bit of like, how do I make something interesting sounding? And I think it is interesting. Like Ian Curtis, like I mean, I was also like fresh out of college. There was a little bit of like, oh, this is why it's always lowercase, is because I was like, oh, E. Cummings, so it's like head of lowercase. I'm a super cool hipster millennial. I mean, truth be told, like ErikCurtis.com was taken, and I was like, it is what it is. The only downside,
I say we hunt him down.
I still like Ian Curtis. I've tried. Dude was like, I'm not going to sell it to you.
Can you imagine how fun would it be if that Erik Curtis that owns ErikCurtis.com, if he lived in New Mexico, if we could do 2 birds with 1 stone, go get this
The
Erik
Seagal
Curtis
trip
and
of
get pulled
2020
over by
pre-show?
Steven Seagal.
This will make sense.
Imagine if we get arrested by Steven Seagal for threatening ErikCurtis.com.
Oh man, that's the dream.
Wow.
Oh my
That's
god.
the American dream.
Pete's still talking about what's on his bench. I'm really
No,
sorry.
no,
Pete.
no. We're going down a rabbit hole. I have a question now. Do you have a logo?
No.
Do you have like a
don't.
okay? Because I was gonna ask that. I know you have your Life is Silly shirts. It has a very silly logo on it there.
It's
but, like,
So
But like, I was
there's-
wondering because you're one of the few people where like the reason I was asking about the whole name is because you are the brand. Like your photo is the same across most of your
Yeah.
platforms, and that's how people recognize you. This is a
and
conversation I
there's
had
pros-
with Paul
there's
Jackman
pros
a
and
few months
cons to
ago,
that.
where
Yeah.
like he put his face as his logo now. But like
Yeah.
people
Did
know
he
who he
change
is.
his
at this
logo?
point.
It's I don't know. It's one of those things where I tell people constantly, like, I'm not a smart business person. Don't take my business advice. All I do is make objects and
All I do is
and pray
Spinning about
that it works.
I mean, green
But-
shirt and muscles. That's your thing.
green shirt and muscles. That's gonna be if I ever start a private Instagram. That's gonna
Green
be the
shirt and
handle.
muscles.
Green shirt and muscles.
Oh, speaking of private Instagram,
Um,
can we talk about what coffee's gonna do for your birthday? Did you forget?
Yeah,
Mike?
I'd love to hear about this.
you're gonna change your Instagram handle for Eric's birthday. You don't remember this?
Oh,
at the
I do
time?
vaguely remember
Was
this.
there
but
a
I
lot
don't
of
remember
bourbon?
what it
I do
was.
remember,
There's a lot of bourbons
but there was a lot of
involved
bourbon
in that trip.
involved,
There
right?
were- that- we
Yes,
were
there was a lot of
several
bourbon involved.
old-fashioned
You were telling him you're gonna change your Instagram handle to the Snicker Diddler
The Noug?
or the Noog or
Was it the
something like
Noog?
that. It was a Snicker reference.
It was a veinless Snicker reference.
It was a veinless.
The Veinless Noog or something.
No, it was just the
I
Noug.
sent a video to Mike and Dan at some point. I was at a store checkout and I'm rubbing a Snickers bar. I'm like, guys, verified. They're still there.
That was
Nobody
that was
understands
lost,
this.
That was lost in the alcohol ether.
Yeah, the
That was gone.
There was a Reddit
bourbon-
post
glad
that
we
was
brought it
saying
back
that they
around.
That out of my
removed the veins from the Snickers bar.
Smooth as the day is long.
They
man.
just smoothed it out.
That
It is
became like
false.
a
The
that
veins
became
are
like
still
a
there.
theme for the whole weekend in
It was-
Austin.
Listen,
Great
listen.
trip.
Snickers has their insecurities too. Okay, they got some work done. Okay.
It turned.
They got
I don't know.
Botox.
They
I don't know if
released
you know
the
this, Eric.
Snickers
I don't know if you know this.
Classic afterwards.
That turned out to be fake. That was
It was fake.
Yeah,
it was a fake Reddit.
That was
Anything
false
Snoop
news.
sends
That was
along,
fake
I assume,
news.
is fake.
Terrible.
Yeah,
Terrible.
but still.
So anyway, you're still gonna be the veinless Noog.
It
on my
was one of the
birthday.
catchphrases of the weekend. Like that was like that. The incident.
I can't believe you forgot about
I'll be-
that. Man, I wish I would have wrote it down.
Completely gone out of my.
Can't believe you thought. Yeah, I can't believe you thought I'd remember that.
I think it was the Snicker Diddler, though.
No, what?
It was something like that.
I may have to change my birthday request to the Snicker Diddler though. Now.
Oh, crikey.
Oh my god.
Pete?
Oh,
what
what
else
Yes,
you got
Pete,
on
what's
the-
on your bench?
did live
Continue.
stream on YouTube? I'm working on some floating shelves for a neighbor of mine. I just have to do the inserts, like the inlays or whatever. I have to cut out a spot for the hardware.
mortises?
And thank you for the idea, Mike, because you cut all your templates on the laser. I don't know why I've never thought to use the laser.
Yeah,
I've cut them on a
so
CNC
fast.
like a pleb
Ouch.
or made them by hand. I'm like, oh, I could just cut them on a laser. This is so much easier. Although I need to get a
Such
big
laser
casual
templates, man.
flexing over here. I
That
can
has
just
a-
cut them on a laser.
cut them on a laser.
Welcome to my
Every
world,
day.
Eric. It's-
Well, because I've either made them
crap.
by hand or I've cut them on a CNC.
Talk about
before.
lasers, and I go to sleep over here.
And Mike's
This
like,
guy's over here watching my stories where I'm routing things out with a router plane. He's like, I just cut it on a laser. I got a laser guy for that.
Got a laser.
You
guy.
can use a
laser
routed
guy.
plane when you have a Laguna EX laser. So aside from that, I'm doing. It's unfortunately it's landscaping season, and oh, get a lot of property. They said it'll be fun. They said, and then you
Nobody
have to
said
buy
that.
mulch, buy 30 bags of mulch.
No
and you
one
go,
says that.
Oh, this is half of it.
Why
Oh,
didn't
I
you
need to
have
get-
soil delivered, dude?
I-
It's so much cheaper.
I have to learn, Mike. I have to make mistakes
Okay.
first.
I just had 6 yards of soil delivered today.
Must be
We got-
nice.
I'm in all Sunday.
I measure
The
by
humble
bags 'cause
flex
I'm a
over here. I
flipper.
just had
First
6
time
yards
homeowner
of
over here.
soil delivered. No
It's
big deal.
not a flex at all.
I put it in the bear
so
den.
much money
Yeah, it came with a container. It was filled with it.
to buy that much in bag form. It'd be like $8,000.
I learned
It's
that,
like
Mike.
400.
Oh my
bucks.
god. Bags are ridiculous, man.
I know.
Yeah, it's
I know.
ridiculous.
Mistakes
No.
were made, but
Yeah,
at this point,
Can
all
you
Sunday's
get
gonna be garden
legitimately?
day.
Can you get soil delivered at your property?
I can.
Because
Yes.
you know,
I
like
can.
I live in the
just didn't
city,
think to
nobody's
ask.
going to deliver soil through my house into my back alley.
No, I'm
You know what
in.
I'm saying?
That's true.
I'm in like
It'd just
West
be in your
Podunk, New
driveway.
Jersey.
Yeah.
We're good.
Get it heavily fertilized with manure too. Your neighbors do that.
Oh yeah. I'll just have
This
the cows.
stuff stinks.
If
so
I
you
really
know
need
it's
cow
good.
poop, I
It
can drive
stinks
up the
bad.
street and get it because there's farms everywhere. You guys saw.
Mm.
But that's it.
Smelled like
Landscaping,
There's a Nebraska
Rubio's
joke in there
warehouse at
somewhere.
9:30 in the morning a couple Thursdays ago.
All right, so is that all the words on the benches, right? We all did
I
the
think so.
bench
That's
things.
it.
We
Yeah.
more questions for
Yeah.
Eric, or are we going to go
No,
into
I
the
think that's
ones
the
that
show.
Questions,
the
I mean,
other
done.
people
We have
that are
questions
definitely
to
not
ask
gonna
about the show.
ask?
But we got some questions for Eric, but I mean, some of them are pretty stupid, so I don't really want to. Hold on, let me get this. Let me, let me read this one because some of these Collins, man, you know what I'm saying? They were like really like low blows
Yeah.
to.
What
you
kind of
guys
name
were
is
really
Colin?
Mad at some of them. Colin. I see
You
what you
said
did
Colin,
there.
right?
I
Colin
hate
I
Jost?
see what you
You.
did there.
Did Colin
I
Jost call
hate
in? I love
you.
him.
Colin Jost called in. Eric, Lincoln Woodworks wants to know: have you started on your male sculpture yet?
I want to know what that means. First of all,
It's like a
I
mailbox.
haven't.
LE.
So, Dan, I what
Oh,
was
you're
it?
speaking
Last-
directly to
Female,
me. Okay.
your female sculptures, was this like out of a dare, or is this like a natural progression kind of a thing?
No, so this was. I don't think I've ever told the full story of this sculpture. So this was December 2020, right? So this was after quarantine.
Peak
and
COVID.
I peak COVID, and I started dating a
We're
girl.
all nipples deep in COVID.
And
Areola's deep.
for sure, nipples
Yeah.
deep. And and I had never done a figurative piece before, and I really wanted to push myself artistically. You know, we were all like going through it during COVID,
Yeah.
and so I had an oak log and decided I wanted to make a figurative piece as best I could. So the girl that I was dating at the time was kind enough to agree to model for me, and I made a figurative sculpture. She sits, 5 feet to my left right now on one side of my couch. And for a first figurative piece, I think it's an engaging work. I think that the line work and the surface quality is pretty good. But there are things that I would do differently now, as with any piece. And so what I want to
Add
do
a penis.
is to make a male piece and just schlong it up,
What was the
just
surgery called
hang
again,
brain
Mike?
out there.
Yeah, you're
Just,
gonna do it. You're gonna perform an addictomy.
For sure. But it is not even like the piece is oak. I'm just gonna like walnut,
Right.
give it that contrast.
Absolutely. It's all about
Yeah.
emphasis.
Yeah.
So what I want to do, hopefully sometime within the next year, is to do a male figurative piece that is
there-
something of a balance to that.
Is there anywhere online that I can see the
Yeah.
finished first
Oh,
piece?
for
Yeah,
sure.
it's all over his
For sure.
Instagram.
All of his Instagram.
Yeah, it's on my Instagram.
Oh, I should
I'll pull
probably
it
do
up
Is
that.
and
there
I'll-
somewhere on? Is there someone
I'll throw it in the
somewhere
chat.
online where one? Is there somewhere online where someone can apply to be the muse for your next
Oh,
sculpture?
Hey, you know what? I'm taking it's an open application process.
You had me
Open
at Hank
application.
Brain.
Oh,
Oh my god. I'm trying to here. Actually, it's the first image under sculpture on my website. I'm
Man,
gonna put it
he's
in the
actually
chat
got
for you
images.
guys
I
right
was just
now.
trying to sound like a
You
creep.
just go to iancurtis.com.
Hey, you wanted to see
all right.
some creepy, wooden boobies? There you go.
We'll call them woobies.
I
If
will
anyone does,
You wanted to
always
see some
look at
boobies?
pictures of those things,
Woo.
regardless
Live
of
your life,
the
bud.
I love his account. I
Regardless
love when
of
he
the
yells
medium.
woo.
marble,
All right.
wood.
I love what
Flesh.
Wooby does with skateboards.
Skateboard woobies.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it's a
Wooden
great
boobies.
piece.
It's a piece.
Right.
It's a great piece, dude.
dude. I mean, like
Oh,
quality work is
hang it
tits,
in
bro.
young and then. Whoa.
I can't say that.
Oh, that's,
I'm sorry, that's the line on this show.
man, that's actually really good. Like, I
Yes.
expected
Thanks,
I could
bud.
say a lot of creepy things about that, but that's
I don't
actually
know how
really
I feel about
artistic.
the actually in there.
He's actually good.
No,
You hear that?
no. I
He
wanted
really
to
leaned
look
into that,
at it.
actually. He was like, surprisingly, that's not the worst sculpture I've
Not
ever
when you
seen.
stick it into my
I
fire
wanted
pit.
to. I wanted to look at this picture and be able to say really creepy things about it, but it's actually really good and artistic.
There's no
I
nipples.
can't.
I'm sorry.
It's
It's not George
actually-
Clooney's bat suit.
It's actually very impressive.
It's topical.
Sadly.
Sad.
Sadly.
I expected more Playboy-esque.
So you say
Playboy.
sometime this year or sometime in a year?
Playboy. It's
I'm hoping sometime within the next year.
Playboy for pigs.
Cool.
That I can make that happen.
Cool.
I'm going up to Maine to do a residency in
That's
the
pretty
fall
funny.
for 9 weeks, which I'm excited. I haven't actually announced that yet, so anybody listening to this,
What
I'll
are
be
you?
up there.
What are you doing?
Back at the Center for Furniture Craftsmanship, which is where I went to school.
Awesome.
I'll be
Awesome.
up there doing a residency for 9 weeks from
Very cool.
mid-September to early November. So very excited about that, to get back up there and play around some. I've got that entryway doors is one of the things that I want to explore while I'm up there. And then the second project is kind of open-ended. Could be a reiteration of the plant-based coffee river table thing that I've
That was
done in
cool.
the past.
Legit, my wife loves that. Loves that.
I'm glad to hear that. There's a lot of people who seem to
I-
really dig
I think
the
it's sick.
concept.
I think it's cool, man. I think it's really like she just my wife's a plant lady. She loves plants. I think it looks
Yeah.
sick. I love that thing.
I think
I wasn't
it
gonna
could
dig.
turn
Stop,
into
knock
a
that
really
smile off your
interesting
face, guy.
piece.
It's a good piece. It looks cool.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I think that I'm really new to woodworking, and like I love it. I just love woodworking so much. And I deep dove into it during COVID, and something I don't really do regret. I don't really do that. I don't really do a regret thing.
No
but
regrets.
something I wish I had done was, and it wasn't something I couldn't do. I tried multiple times to go get some formal training. And I was actually having this conversation with Dan this week. I multiple times tried to get into classes, and they just kept getting canceled. I put deposits down, they get canceled. It happened at least 4 times over COVID. And I never got any formal training. It was all trial by like social media, online, and figuring it out. And like something I'm trying to do for myself. Your residency statement really speaks to me, because I really want to take some classes this year. It's really big for me, and I want to continue that education because I need to learn a lot. There's a lot I need to learn. And that like this year I'm trying to get 2 classes, like 1 week minimum classes where I'm gone. I leave the shop, the guys handle the business, and I'm gone and I better myself.
See,
I
that's
just think
great.
that's
You
important,
built the structure on which you can walk away and work still gets
Yeah.
done. That's really good.
Yeah,
That's
where
smart
I-
business man
Honestly, I just
mindset
miss
that Mike
teaching.
has.
I want to find a school around here. Like I'm not a professional woodworker, but like we
But you
often
know more
undervalue.
than most folks.
You know way more
enough
than
to
most
teach.
folks. Exactly. And like I miss teaching intro to furniture making, like building these pieces with people. Like just it really is great.
intro to
this is the
laser
thing.
furniture making.
Laser
That's
furniture.
exactly it. He's got a laser guy. And like, I don't know. I was just having this conversation with my friends Larissa and Annalise. If you don't
Great
know,
follow, by the way, on the
Larissa,
Larissa, man.
Larissa-
like 100% great follow.
Larissa is truly a badass, worth a follow, and she's an even better human than she is an Instagram personality.
Larissa who?
which
Be
is-
more specific.
Larissa.huff is her handle. She's legit. But we were just having this conversation because she was just down at Aeromont or Penland, one of the two. She was doing a residency there. And one of the weird things that happens in kind of the world that Larissa and I live in is we straddle that world between the art community and the woodworking community. And so we're constantly in a place where like most of the people that were like where she was at, they all had MFAs and Larissa doesn't have an MFA. And this is something that I struggle with constantly is like, how do you
deal with that acceptance into a community that you feel like you're an outsider of. And for me, this is like, how do I get accepted into the art community when I'm a woodworker? Or for a lot of people in our community, it's how do I get accepted into the woodworking community when I don't have a formal education, or I'm not a full-time woodworker, or I don't have 20 years of experience, whatever it is. And this is what it all comes back to, like I was talking about at the beginning of the pod. It's like, you're wherever you are, it's good enough. You know what I mean? As long as you're making progress toward the next thing, that's all that matters. And
the real problem is you allowing other people's expectations of what you're doing interfere with what you're doing. You can't let that
But
happen.
even your own expectations, which I think can sometimes be more dangerous, right? So this is a constant question that I get asked is like, what's your favorite piece you've ever made? Which is an impossible question to answer, because
you can't answer that question.
Every time I make a piece, and I've touched on this before, and this is not always true, but it's always my aim, is to make the best possible object that I can in the moment that I'm making it, right? And what you can't do, and what's never healthy, is to judge an object that you made based on the knowledge and skill set that you have currently, right? So if I made a piece 5 years ago, or 7 years ago, or 10 years ago, I have to take into consideration the things I didn't know and the progress I was making at the time that I made the object. And if I can critique the object with that in mind, then I have a healthier understanding of not only where I was, but where I've come from since then. And it's always that battle of like, my goal is to make objects that have some kind of an emotional impact, not only on the viewer, but make an emotional statement or a spiritual statement of myself and the world that I live in and how I interact with the world. But in 10 years, hopefully I'm way better than I am now. So why would I judge the pieces that I make now with the skill set and understanding that I have in a decade? So as long as you're doing the thing, just keep doing the thing. And that's good enough. That's the whole, like, that is what being a human is doing things and learning and failing and understanding why you weren't as good as you are now. So what I'm saying, Mike, is like, just if you want to take classes, take classes. What I'm saying is, buddy, you're good enough as you are.
Yep.
That's all I'm saying.
Oh no, I'm a
Just get
woodworker.
gooder.
I'm making a good living. Like I'm. This is literally. I know what I'm doing. Like I can make a living off this, and everything's going fine. I want to get like my I want to get very technical with my knowledge. For me, that's something I want to do. I'm not doing it to prove it to anyone. My business is going great. Like I mean, things are going really well. Like I'm not trying to, like, I don't need to prove anything to anyone. I just don't care. I literally just want to get more technical knowledge so that when I am doing things, it's all about perspective. That's why I like having different guys in the shop. Like I really like Sean has more knowledge than me, like straight up, just more experience than me, because he's been doing it longer than I have. He'll be like, why don't we do it this way? I'm like, that's a really great idea. We should do it this way. That will net a better result. And sometimes I have less experience, but I have different experience than him, and I'll go, let's try it this way, and we'll end up in a better result going my way as well. So different people have different things. And that's why I think it's important that the woodworking community isn't exclusive. I think that it needs to be a very open community. I think that people bring a lot of perspective, and it will only make woodworking better. And like I said, I don't regret it. I did want to go to those classes for a reason. Specifically, I've never made a chair. That's something I want to do. I have never made a chair. I've knocked out some chairs, but I've never made a chair where I'm like, that's a chair. You know what I mean? Like I've knocked out some chairs. Like it's like, there's 4 legs, there's a butt rest, and it went under a table, and technically you can sit on there, and that's a chair. You know, like
you never maloofed a chair.
I want to make a chair and be like, yeah, that's a chair. You know, that's what I'm talking about. So I mean, that's something I want to do. And like doors are really calling to me for some reason. I don't know why doors are calling to me so hard right now. I'm like really excited about doors. I love tables. You know, there's things that like I'm really excited about. But
there's
Jim Morrison, the best.
I'm glad you said Maloof, Dan, because there is like, we have kind of the 3 godfathers of contemporary woodworking, right? There's Maloof, there's Nakashima, and there's Eschrick. Eschrick was the artist who became a woodworker. Nakashima was an architect, a landscape designer, a woodworker, all of the things. Maloof was a production woodworker. He was a production artist, right? His creative capacity was within making the same object over and over, and every time it was very slightly different. So for whatever reason, we knock production work. Like we think that it's, I don't know, less artistically, right? Exactly. Like it's it's somehow lesser than one-off work. But Maloof made the same damn chair for 50 years. But every time he made it by hand, and therefore, by definition, it was very slightly different, and it evolved ever so slightly over time through the necessity of his process. But
it's just natural evolution, basically.
Right. There's nothing, like, again, if you want to make cutting boards, make 100 cutting boards, whatever it is that makes you happy, whatever it is that makes you smile. If you do the thing with intention, that's the thing that's going to drive your process, your craft forward over time.
Stagnation is the killer. I mean, that's the bottom line. Like, stagnation is the killer. Like, there's no positive growth. I mean, there's people who make cutting boards. I mean, they're just sick. They look amazing. Like, there's people, I don't want to do it, but that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
People that I follow on Instagram that are killing it with their business, and they're just doing cutting boards. A Ginny and Davis come to mind. And they're just I don't crushing cutting boards.
I don't care about it, but I can look at it and go, that's really great. Like, really, that's really an expression of art.
Yeah.
And I don't like it, and that's not true. I don't have the passion for it that they do, but that doesn't invalidate their thing. Their thing is real. Like, whatever I'm chasing has nothing to do with what they're chasing. So it's all like, everyone's different.
Also, it's like a shop setup thing too. Like, if you're doing chairs, your shop is set up very differently. Like, a table saw is not your main piece. Like, you're looking at like just a lot of workbenches. When I walk into chair shops, you just see templates hanging everywhere, whether they're, wooden MDF or just like paper ones. It blows my mind how many templates they work off of.
No, I'm glad you bring that up, actually, because they're like, the idea that you as a woodworker has to do everything is inane, because you can't do everything. Chair making is a specific niche of woodworking, right?
Right.
The same way that we don't, as furniture makers, assume that we know how to make a barrel. Like, a cooper is an entirely different profession. Why would we think that we can do that?
Because that's such a niche thing for woodworking.
We're like, oh yeah, I'm a woodworker. I can make cutting boards. I can make spoons. I can make a table. I can make chairs. Designing chairs, designing a comfortable chair. I'm sitting in a chair I designed in school right now, 10 years ago. It's the most uncomfortable chair I may have ever sat in, right? But it was my first attempt. I didn't understand ergonomics of the seated position. Like, there's so many things that go into it.
I wish this wasn't a podcast. I have a chair that I made right over there that just sits over there. It is so ugly, so uncomfortable, but it's there, and I look at it.
But that's an important thing to go through, right? Like, it's the process of failing, and we don't, for whatever reason, we are failure averse at this moment in time in our culture. And the only way to get better at something, this is something I tell my students all the time, you have to make 100 shitty objects before you ever accidentally make a beautiful one. And what'll happen is you just make your 101st shitty object, and then you'll look at it and you'll go, oh, that's actually not half bad. Yeah. And then the next time you make it, it'll be a little, like, it's like a half-life. It'll get half as, gooder.
Gooder, yeah.
I love the term gooder. A Maloof-volution.
Yeah, it's a Maloof-volution.
But
that's what it is,
title. I got another question for you. This is Kevin Willingham. He says, Erik, trying to make your finish, but I can't find turpentine anywhere. I believe you said mineral spirits will work, and I'm curious if it's the same portions.
Before you get into answering his question specifically, could you tell us a little bit about what finish he's talking about?
Sure. So the finish that I like to use is actually a variation on what a lot of people call the Maloof finish, which it's a rub-on varnish, right? So essentially, it is a urethane-based varnish that I wipe on, wipe off, and then over several coats, I'll essentially lessen the urethane and increase the wax content. And my goal is to kind of, it's the adjective I always use is buttery, right? Like a finish that doesn't feel like it's sitting on top of the wood, but is kind of emanating from the wood a little bit. But also the wax gives it a very tactile, silky presence about it. And because my goal is to blend sculpture and furniture, the tactile experience of the piece itself and how you interact with it is really important to me. So that's where this finish kind of stems from, is trying to get the best tactile experience for the customer that I can. That being said, my finish is essentially 1 part urethane, 1 part turpentine, and 1 part Danish oil. And I'll usually wipe that on and wipe that off for roughly 5 coats. Sometimes it's 4, sometimes it's 6. And then I'll usually do 2 to 3 coats of applying a turpentine wax mixture with an abrasive cloth and then buffing that out. It is very labor intensive. People doing production work, there's no way that I would recommend doing this. It's silly, but if you're going to spend a month or 2 months making a piece,
it's on brand for what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right. Like it makes sense for me. If I'm going to spend 300 hours on an object, why wouldn't I spend another 20 finishing it the way that I want to
100%.
get the tactile experience that I want?
100%.
So that all being said, to answer the question, turpentine and mineral spirits are essentially interchangeable. They are both thinners of urethanes. So you can absolutely use mineral spirits in place of turpentine. The reason I use turpentine is simply because I think it smells nicer than mineral spirits. They're both higher in VOCs. Even the low VOC mineral spirits is bad for you. So, choose your poison.
Lift your beard up.
Yeah, lift your beard up is fine.
Yeah, lift your beard up. And
why are you attacking me?
You should be able to get turpentine at your big box stores.
Good luck in California.
I know you can get it.
Not in California. You're not.
Really? Interesting.
We just assume.
That might be true.
No, it is true.
Ben Pike just messaging about he couldn't find some kind of part to the finish or something. Like he was trying to get some
denatured alcohol.
Oh, denatured alcohol.
I have to get denatured alcohol from a commercial place.
I will say, if you're struggling to find turpentine at the big box stores in some states, you should be able to. Turpentine is a very traditional artist medium to thin oil paints, so you should still be able to order it from artist supply stores. So, even if you have to go to Blick Supplies or if you have to order it online, you should still be able to get it.
I'm pretty sure you can get turpentine in the drink fountain at the Pizza Ranch here in Nebraska.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to anywhere named Pizza Ranch, you can't think more
the best
American.
Pizza in Nebraska.
Yeah, it's right next to the Mellow Yellow. Mellow Yellow turpentine.
I don't know. I cut most of my finishes with chloroform, and it's fine.
Strike smell like chloroform to you?
Well, that explains that.
You got a dart in your neck.
Black Adam's dead.
This has been a great episode, Eric. Thank you so much, man. I think we're gonna wrap this one up. We're not gonna get too much else on. We're deep into this son of a gun. So
no, this is a great episode since the incident.
This is a really great episode.
It's been an absolute delight, gentlemen.
I don't know when your birthday is, but I'm buying you a mic and I'm changing my name to the Noug. All in the same day.
Snickerdiddler.
It's gonna be fantastic.
It's Snickerdiddler now, and I don't want any explanation. I want an Arab mystery.
All right. No, it's not anything. Arab mystery. Fantastic.
Please listen to the pre-show, people.
Oh, that was so good.
Well played, Eric.
Big thank you to Erik for coming on the show. Go check out Erik on Instagram and YouTube. He does have a YouTube. I don't know why there's some confusion there at all.
TikTok.
He really has a YouTube, and that's on a TikTok. And then why don't you just go give some traffic to his website for us, guys? Go just check out his
He's
website.
got that
browse
sculpture
around
on there that I like. It's my new favorite.
You can go see Wooden Boobies.
Yeah, go see the Woobies. So anyway, big thanks to our listeners. Big thanks to our patrons. You guys are awesome. Keep sharing the show. This will be out tomorrow. Today is Thursday. It'll be out tomorrow for the patrons and Saturday for everyone else. Until next week, we will talk to you guys then. Have a great one. I love you.
Say hi to my
Love
mom.
you.
Welcome to Costco. I love you.
Bye.
Bye,
you long
bye
time.
now. Love you a long time. Bye.